a city slicker.
Are you?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
But I come from
Always.
well, I grew up in Perth, which is like a country city anyway, or at least in the time that I was growing up in there in the 90s. And then I moved to Chicago, and then I moved to Melbourne.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Should we?
We should probably start this podcast properly. Oh,
because this is
hold
exciting.
on. We got to introduce who it is we're talking
yes.
to. This
Holy crap!
Holy
the
cow!
dulcet
What
tones.
is that voice?
Who is it today?
Because hello, this is our podcast. Is this a job? I'm Raywyn Pickering, a farmer who does comedy.
And I'm – are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm Adrian Pickering. I'm not quite sure. I am sure I'm Adrian Pickering.
Yeah.
I'm an actor.
There you go.
Also not sure some days, but
Yeah.
yeah, 50-50. Yeah. And this is our podcast. Oh, we're sisters, by the way.
We're sisters, and we're talking to all kinds of creative people. We've had musicians,
Directors, writers,
actors,
theatre
writers.
makers,
Just
a lot of comedians. Has to be said.
We're in the thick of like that
Really
comedy festival, and so many
binging
comedians
on
are into
comedians.
it. It's so great because
We love it.
I mean, I love all the conversations.
Yeah, it's just like going to a
really
comedy show for
catered to
free.
me.
I
Yeah.
mean, you know, yes. Well,
Yeah, well, you should pay for some.
well,
comedy.
as I said that, I sort of felt like we expected everyone to be
Yeah.
funny, and actually that's not really. There's a few laughs to be had, but this is a very hard-hitting podcast.
yeah, I mean, that's the real questions. Like, how do you do this?
How do you do this? Have you made sense of it all?
Yeah,
Why
what
do
are
you do
your-
it? What are you getting out of it?
What are your income streams?
Yeah, what are your six? What are your Charles Jenkins?
That you can
income
declare.
streams?
Yes.
Yeah.
But today, so excited to have another comedian.
Another comedian.
But he's a
But also-
slashy.
Yeah, I'm a big
Comedian,
Slashy.
actor, improviser,
writer,
writer,
and
direct.
I think I
No.
can also say puppeteer because I was a
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
You were
our
a
first puppeteer.
We did it.
Actually, Emily Tomlin's sort of puppeteer
Oh,
too.
that's
So
right.
sorry, not the first.
Second
Ben,
puppeteer.
but
None taken.
That's okay. Also an excellent puppeteer.
That's okay. There can be more than one puppeteer, and I don't like
We
to.
love them.
I don't like to advertise, and I know that I just did, but
Yeah.
it is embarrassing admitting that you are a puppeteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make your own?
That's cool.
No,
Oh, okay, sorry.
no,
Not a puppet maker.
No.
No, I was not a puppet maker.
a separate
I'm
one.
shit in
In
craft.
okay.
Craft. I can't. No, I can't even look at it. It
That's so funny.
produces a.
Oh.
It's not enjoyable. A lot
Like
of people,
anything, like
Can't
painting.
create with your hands.
people do craft
create
because
with
it's
your
fun.
mind.
Yeah.
but not with your hands.
My hands are stupid. I have the stupidest hands known to man.
All thumbs. Oh, no.
It's all pinkies.
So dainty, I
That
guess.
is.
real dainty.
I imagine that. I saw you imagining it, and it is a disturbing.
It would be hard to make craft with 10 pinkies.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
disgusting.
difficult.
Oh, God.
It gives me
You don't have any
gross.
strength.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Just in will and character. But I'm really strong.
Yeah, in so many other ways.
In arm.
Elbow up, it's all strength.
Oh my goodness! Like you wouldn't believe.
So how do you describe yourself? Obviously, I just described you
Yes.
on a tax form, on a like something where someone's like, I don't know, at a family gathering. They're like,
Wait,
oh,
did
Ben,
we
what
even
do you
say
do?
who you are?
Yeah, didn't we say? Oh, Ben
You didn't say my
Russell.
name.
Oh, so
I don't think we did. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Ben
Ben
Russell.
Ben
It's Ben
Russell.
Russell, everyone. It's
yes,
Ben
it's
Russell.
Ben Russell.
Hi.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I've enjoyed
Just
it.
had to get the name in there in case
Yeah.
everyone's going,
Oh,
who
God.
is it?
I like to keep it
Who
mystery.
the hell? Yeah.
Yeah.
what?
Stay tuned the whole way through to
Yeah,
figure out.
only at the very
At the
end do you
will
find
say,
out.
thank you, Ben Russell.
Yeah. Is it Tom Hardy or is it Ben Russell? I don't know. We'll find out at the end.
Yeah.
50-50.
Or you watch the footage.
Yeah. Oh, true. Also hard to tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So if someone asks you, hey, what do you do? Or if you have to put it on a form or something,
Yeah, right.
what do you say?
I'll show my work.
Occupation.
I don't want to say obviously you don't want to say comedian.
No.
You never, ever, ever want to say comedian. Sometimes if I'm feeling cheeky, if I'm sharing an Uber or, going into a restaurant and where the place is, what do you guys do? I go, they're a stand-up comedian. And so I'll dub
You'll
in
dub someone
the friend.
else. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And that's a real way to get people to hate you.
That's not very cool.
It's it's really funny.
Yeah.
Do it to Ray one
Very
day.
great tactic.
And then you'll see how fun it is. And you don't want to say actor because, I mean, that's just basically, that's how people will be like, no, we don't want to serve you.
Oh, yeah. But then it also opens you up to like, oh, what do you do? What have you been in? Is there anything I've noticed?
So I'll usually say I'll just say, I work in entertainment.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's a nice.
Do you think they think you're a stripper sometimes?
You know what? If they do,
yeah,
that's okay.
Or clown.
Yeah. Hey, sex work is real work, and
you don't say no.
Really, it's the same setup and sort of systems as
it's still a stage.
It's a gig economy.
Still gotta check the PA.
It's a gig economy. You might not like your clients too much.
There's a transaction.
There's a lot of similarities between them.
The music plays you off.
Yeah.
The music plays you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate. You're an entertainer.
The only difference is we
everything.
don't have to have sex with them. That's the main difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't?
Oh, so you're a different kind of comedian to the other ones we've had on here.
Interesting.
That is different.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not really comedians, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No, that sounds about right too.
Yeah.
So I just work in entertainment because I do like bits of everything. I do write.
Exactly.
So it's just easier to be like, that's what I.
Out of all of those slashes, which was the first one?
Acting.
That you started on? Acting.
Yeah.
So drama school, after school?
I went from school into independent theatre. So there was this great, I started in Perth, and there was this really great theatre there called the Blue Room Theatre, and it's still there. And it basically, it was like La Mama, but a little bit more, I would say, a little bit more developed and popular, a little bit more money than La Mama. It was a real special place.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you just stepped straight on the boards.
Stepped straight in. Yeah.
So did you go to school in Perth?
Yeah. I went
so
to
you
school
moved.
So I was born in Melbourne. We lived in New Zealand, then Perth, and they're from Texas. Everyone else I'm the only one that's first born Australian, except for my nieces now. But
Wow. But you have family, so everyone's in Perth?
Everyone's in or
Melbourne.
No, dad, mum, brother are all in Perth.
Let's just get this straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
Where
important.
do you send your Christmas cards?
For some reason, it is important.
I don't know why.
It's
really needed to
But
know.
all of them were born in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and immigrated here.
Whoa. Even your brother? Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're the first one.
And weirdly enough, I'm the one that sounds, like between me and my brother, I sound more American because I've obviously lived over there.
Yeah.
And he was in the Australian, he's like my complete opposite of a person. Like
Really?
he's quite a large, and he was in the army and everything. So he quickly got the any Americanisms taken out by the Australian Defence Force.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
very
so
strange.
are your parents like creative at all? Were they like saying, "Oh
They're not funny.
you should be an actor"?
Yeah,
Were
why
they
don't you do this
encouraging
play?
or like?
No, Mum was. Mum liked it that I was into it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of did it, I guess. I had 1 year off after school I was kind of I was shit in school and I was terrible. And I was a bit of a, and then one day I was
But
just
you finished. You went through to year 12.
I got through it.
Yeah.
And then I think one day I was just like, no one's really going to do this for me, so I'm just going to go and start auditioning for these independent theaters, and then just slowly did
Got
more
a
and
job
more.
in a play.
Yeah, and then I tried out for the Black Swan State Theatre Company's Hotbed Ensemble, which is an emerging artist program that they used to have before the old artistic director that was with play got rid of it.
Yeah.
Because the plays were too good. The plays were doing really well. And they were like, no.
No.
At least that's what I'm told.
Better than the
I'm obviously not a
main
part of
stage
this.
This isn't
Is that
for
what you
us.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
That's what I'm told. That's purely hearsay.
You were
Alleged.
too good.
No. This is after
it
me.
happened after.
So, but it was super. I made like such a great experience, and I learned a lot from that. And then, I auditioned for NIDA 3 or 5 times, and the last time I did it, I got through all the rounds, and then they were just like, "You don't match physically what we're after," and
So boring.
yeah.
Mate.
And I was like, okay.
You still felt like you needed it though,
stopped.
because you'd been working in play, so arguably you're already on your way. But you felt like what did you want to get out of that?
I do not know. In hindsight,
Probably a lot of people just said that's what you should do.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. I felt like I needed to do it because that's what you do. You go through the system so that you can end up sounding and looking and acting like everyone else. No offense.
Or like getting an agent, maybe. That was the big thing that I remember, like everyone said to me, like, you've got to get an agent. Out of it.
Well, that's the same in comedy as well. People are like, you got to get an agent, not without knowing why and what an agent is and what they do.
What sort of agent.
Yeah.
And the fact that in this country with such a small industry, they're practically useless unless you get to a certain or
level.
you're very
point.
or you're extremely clear about what you want from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many of those cases where we just found ourselves kind of doing things because we were told this is how you're doing them.
Totally.
And now looking back, you're like, I wasted so much time, or I felt so insecure about this for zero reason.
Because you didn't get to NIDA.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you didn't end up going there.
No.
Is the end of that story.
I just kept doing theatre and then...
Was that your job? So you were getting enough jobs that
hell no.
would pay? Okay.
I think I had multiple.
Lots of
different
other jobs.
Little shitty jobs.
Yeah, right.
But that changed when I was doing a play and a friend a guy that I was doing the play with was like, you should do stand-up. And I was like, I don't know. Just riffing backstage is different than getting up in front of people.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I've signed you up to Lazy Susan's comedy
Thanks,
den.
friend.
Yeah.
Well, did he want to do it as well?
He was already kind of doing it.
Oh, okay.
Which he stopped doing it way after. Which, got good. That's good. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I just did that. And then in Perth at that time, I would say very early 2000s, it was kind of we didn't realize how good we had it because it was in a period where Eastern States comics would never even dream of coming over to Perth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there was, and stand-up was kicking off.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
And so there was so much demand, but there were no comedians.
One there. Wow.
So you sort of had a hold on the
So there's
population. There's
a group, there's like a core kind of group of us that some are over here, some are in New York, some are in the UK, that came from that specific period in Perth.
Wow.
That just got the gigs way
All the
before
time.
they had any right to be paid.
So what do you think it gave you?
It
All
gave
that
me
practice?
stage time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gave me experience. And so
And confidence too. If you're doing these bigger gigs where like normally, I mean, if you were starting out in the Melbourne scene, it might take years to do a gig like in front of 100 people or something.
Yes.
But I was emceeing because I could welcome people on.
Yeah.
And just talk shit. And it was, and then I started making money from it. And that just became my job. And when my dad started to see that, he was like,
keep going.
I am now on fucking board.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
What a good feeling,
That's great.
Yeah, it was very strange. And so there's like Mike G came from that period.
Yeah, yeah.
Cassie Workman, Laura Davis,
Yeah, right. Oh, right.
Xavier.
So this is, as you said, like early 2000s. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we basically just like, because I started managing the room that I started at Lazy Susan's, and then we basically just kind of, it was this really nice community that wasn't in competition, that we were competing with each other, but we weren't ever in competition with each other. We weren't ever like, it was more like, wow, this person is doing really good stuff. So in order to feel like I, belong, I'm going to keep pushing myself. And I think from that experience,
That's so good.
You're
so you're
able
not
to-
necessarily like being as you said, competitive with each other of like, oh, that person's getting that opportunity or something.
there's still nothing to get.
Yeah. Okay.
It's still Perth.
But you were dominating.
We made things like there was no scene, and there was a scene. Sorry, I'm being unfair. The benefit that we had was there were a group of old dogs that were there to tell us when we were being cunts, and they would.
Yeah.
And that was super important because after our generation, we all left. I would say with in around 2000, between 13 and 15, all of those people left.
Yeah.
And so the Perth comedy scene
Sort of fell apart. There's
languished.
no one there.
There was no one to tell the young people that they were kind of being stupid.
Yeah.
And the people
Yeah.
that, so as a result, I mean, this is a bit of, it's not saying it is, I think it's gotten a lot better, but the Perth comedy scene for a while was the worst comedy scene in terms of general behavior and comedians thinking that
Like
they were,
attitude.
yeah,
you're sort of
thinking that they
talking
were
about. Yeah.
Bill Hicks,
Yeah.
you know,
right.
like the God's gift.
Yeah.
So you would get what you call over here the Perth swagger, where you'd have these Perth, they come over and they eat absolute shit, and then they're like, fuck Melbourne. Like, no, that's the wrong attitude. If you eat shit, you go, why am I eating shit?
Yeah, right. You've
And
got
then
to
you
sort
get
of
better.
adapt to
Yeah.
it, like adapt to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Instead of coming in with this.
Because it
I'm
doesn't
better
get
than you
easier.
attitude.
You go over into America and you've got to adapt to that, and
Yeah.
that's not going to, like...
But it sounds like such a great environment to to what Raymond was saying, try stuff out.
Yeah.
And sort of like an accelerator program.
Yeah.
It was.
You know, where you kind of get to try stuff out and go, oh, now I'm just trying to be like so-and-so. I need to find my own way of doing
Yeah.
it. You know, which is such a a formulative part of any artist is working out what's my way of doing this and what can I bring to it that is so unique to me and special, and that's what makes you really good at it, you know. And also the skills, just practicing, right?
Well, yeah, I
Skills.
come from the acting background, and you know, you approach acting like it's a trade and a craft. So I do the same thing with
Me too, every
with
day.
stand up. So it's like that's not every day. But if
I
you,
am trading. And
It's like an
crafting
apprenticeship.
every day.
that's basically what I was saying. That sounded awful, and I deserve this. Let me be very clear. I deserve it. I'm uncomfortable
No,
because
but
I
it
deserve
is
it.
important. It is
Yeah.
what you're saying is right. It is important to practice and to have rigor.
Yeah,
As artists say.
and that was just because I liked it. It wasn't because I was hustling and like rise and grind attitude. I am the laziest, most undisciplined like person ever, I think. It's infuriating to be me.
That must be terrible.
You're just fucking so stupid with everything. But like it's just yeah. I forgot what I was saying. But it was really is great. I think, I still had this weird insecurity about being uneducated.
Yeah.
And so
What do you mean? Like not having enough?
not
like,
having a formal education.
Not having
in it.
another
For-
job,
in
like as a
stand-up
lawyer or
or
something,
as
to fall back on.
No, I just
like
always
a
wanted
sensible
to-
thing or a uni degree or.
I just always wanted to go to like acting school. I think that was such a hangover from that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you
Because I was
never
still really young at this point. I was
Yeah.
still in my
Yes.
20s, and I was like, you know, people in their 20s are not real. Not real people.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think like you think it'll give you what you want, but isn't it like as you get older you realise none of that matters?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Well,
how
'cause
you
it's-
get there. Like all
It's
that
all
matters
you've been
is
told
what
from,
you're
like-
doing and are you enjoying it and is it where you want to be putting your energy into. But I feel like when I was younger I also believed stupid things like that. Like,
And it took me.
really make such a difference. If
I'd love to
this
tell you that
person
it was like
thought I was good.
it took, you know, in my 30s that got any better. But it wasn't until, you know, late 30s, even now, that I've finally kind of gone, why are you doing this? and does this make you happy?
Yeah.
And you ask your, well, what do I want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and then to be kind of sit down and honestly try to answer those questions.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
brutal.
It's fucked up.
That is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't ever get to that
No.
point, really, or put it off.
really
Or,
introspective.
it's pretty confronting, though.
But not doing that is the same as that's like the equivalent of being your own like hardcore Christian. Just no self-examination
Yeah.
of anything because
Yeah.
you're afraid of what you'll
Yes.
find. So
To
if you're
not
afraid
ask
of what you'll find,
questions. Yeah.
then what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you were doing well in the Perth comedy scene, but you still had this idea of like, I want to go to acting school. So where did you go?
Yeah, I was very competitive, and I was at this point. It's important to point out that I was extremely ADHD, and I was a massive alcoholic.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's a
So-
lot.
yeah,
Do they cancel each other out? Or?
unfortunately not.
Oh, okay.
So then I moved
A
to.
barrel of laughs or
I was a barrel.
pretty hard times sometimes.
Sometimes
Up
yeah.
and down.
I would say an incredibly self-centered, selfish individual,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
super fun.
Yeah, but super fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And also maybe led to a lot of success because it maybe gave you a bit of confidence, a bit of like great stories. So a lot of that can really help when
Yeah.
you're sort of starting out,
Yeah. Yeah. If you take away the inhibitions, that's all those things are.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had a little a prototype freak out, just an existential crisis. I say that
Yeah.
prototype because
Yeah.
the
big
real one came,
It wasn't the, yeah.
would come later.
Okay. This is the beta
Yeah.
version
This is
kind of.
just,
Yeah.
this is, I would say this is like an alpha build.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. God, only hindsight can give you that sort of.
It's really interesting thinking about this now
Yeah,
as I'm
it is.
sober and
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like that's such an amazing way of
That
thinking
you
about
thought
it.
it was so full on, but you're like, oh no.
it all feels like a dream. It all
Yeah.
feels like, and not a particularly like
Good
it was
one.
good, but it was also really fucking
Fucking
terrible, like a real
awful.
nightmare.
Wow. So what was
So
the
was that in
freak
your
out?
20s?
Yeah. So 20s,
Doing
existential
comedy,
crisis,
being an actor, doing comedy, doing plays.
emotionally immature, breakdown of a relationship. I've been saving. I get on a plane. I go to Chicago.
Yeah.
I
As any
Why?
person would do in that position, I
yeah.
think.
So I moved
But
there.
like,
Seems
why?
like a sensible choice
had
at
you,
the time.
I want to go to Chicago because
You do-
The
in
comedy.
between doing stand-up and acting, I've gotten into improv
Yeah.
as well. And gotten
In
with
Perth?
this-
Yeah.
Is
in
there
Perth.
quite a big improv scene?
That's
in
where
Perth?
like the
Or-
big hoo-ha came from, which is theatre sports.
Yep.
Which,
Cool.
yeah, which is, a great little entry-level thing to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I kind of
It's
like
huge in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the comedy place in Chicago?
So-
Second City? Or
Yeah.
Yes,
So Chicago is famous for being a sketch and improv town, where most big cities in comedy, stand-up will be the big fish,
Right.
community-wise.
Yeah.
Chicago is the only place where it's sketch and improv is the big
Yes.
fish,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stand-up is the little brother. And so it's just I knew that I kind of wanted to. I knew that I was funny.
Yeah.
Because I was always, even with theater, I could definitely plot the course of like dramatic roles to being the funny one in those dramatic
Yeah.
plays. And
There's such a nice interplay, I think, between acting and
Yeah.
comedy, isn't there, in improv? Like,
it became so clear that I was a
Yeah.
comedic actor.
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never been. I really like stand up, but I will also admit to you that I am far from the greatest stand up ever. It's not. I would say that's like it because I
mean,
find it. That's
if-
the one that I find the most hard.
Do you-
Really?
Yeah, I find stand up
Wow.
the most difficult
Wow.
because it's quite precise. It's so like fiddly and precise. And
Wow.
it's so there's so many
be-
different things going on.
Yeah.
It's like it's
And you sort of
Fucked up.
yourself,
yeah.
are you?
You're yourself and you've got no one else to blame.
Yeah.
And there's no magic trick. It's a magic trick like there is in improv.
Yeah.
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 And there's no script like there is
No.
as an actor. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of people that do stand up are people that maybe like don't wouldn't work well in an improvised setting. Like they're not like they are like they're not a team.
Not a team
person.
player. Yeah. Is that what you're going to say?
I was going to, but then it was like, I don't know. You
Just
like
roll
or
off the
want
tongue.
more control or something. But yeah,
It's
it sounds
a very
like
different thing.
It is really
isn't
different.
it?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
I
it's
mean,
fun to have a.
You sort of
it
got
is
into
fun to have a
comedy
bit of both.
through improv, though, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like that is often a way in too.
Yeah, it for sure is.
And
yeah.
improv is first theatre. That's what people. Improv has done a great job to distance itself from theatre from
Yeah.
somehow, but it's acting first and foremost. And I think the thing that I hate, because I teach sometimes, and the thing I just fucking hate is just people getting up on stage and just going talking through a scene, and I'm like, you realize it's theatre, you got to act. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta look like you fucking
Right. You gotta
care or
commit
not
to it.
a robot.
Yeah.
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 And that's actually really rare for actual
people
commitment.
Yeah.
In class, I don't
Wow.
really see a lot of it now. People are just afraid.
Yes.
That's fine. You're allowed to have improv as a hobby. I'm just saying that
To get to the next level.
you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Wow. So how was Chicago?
It's awesome.
Like first move there, did you sign up for classes? Did you have any contacts or
I had no
just-
contacts. I
Wow.
had a second cousin. Her name was Charlotte, and she was just finishing medical school. And I emailed her and said, "Hey,
Handy.
can I stay on
We've
your
never
couch?"
met.
This was a real second cousin. It wasn't.
Yes.
Wow.
It sounds a bit like a scam.
I know.
Did she think it was a scam?
At first, I was like, I know this sounds.
Sure, Ben. Yeah.
I did say, I know this sounds like a scam, but here's my paperwork.
Yeah.
He's our family tree.
Basically, my dad knows your dad.
Yeah.
And so I was able to sort of stay with her in Ukrainian Village, which is this beautiful part in west sort of Chicago.
Right.
And sort of get my bearings and start going to second city classes and then going to IO, which is the other one there. Because there's like, there's second city is the sketch. IO, they claim to have invented long form improv.
Right.
And that's where all your and both of those are where your phase and your
Yeah.
Can you explain what that
Belushi's,
is?
your Tina Fey's
Oh,
and
your
your-
Tina Fey's.
and your Jim.
Sorry, I thought this was a
Your
style
John
of
Belushi.
comedy. But it sort of is. She's created a
Yeah.
style of comedy. hasn't she?
So that's where all the it's impossible not to get swept up
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how long
of
were you
going through
there
all these
for?
like hallowed
there-
holes and like,
Plan was there for 2 years. I was there for 5.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And the only reason I moved is because I met my wife in New York who lived in Melbourne. And then we fell in love and I moved back a month later and
The rest is history.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, no, it worked out. We're married now. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's
no.
cool. It's going well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Wow, that's awesome. A lot of impulsive kind of
Super
really
impulsive.
trusting your instincts, though, I guess.
Yeah. 'Cause
To
obviously it worked. 5 years.
Brave.
So were you?
Brave.
You
I
were
still
obviously
kind of-
making money there, I guess.
In
Or,
Chicago?
like, yeah.
I
To stay there.
I got lucky and at first I worked in a little Polish deli, which was not that, the most insane
Pierogies?
Polish man. I worked with the most insane Polish butcher.
Okay.
I'd never
like
understood.
really mean
No.
and angry.
No.
That's the stereotype, isn't it?
It was more positive crazy. It wasn't a violent crazy. It was more just I have no idea what you're saying at any point.
He was your boss? Yeah.
and he
that's
had the
tricky.
most, yeah. And I was getting used to pounds and
Oh, no.
I was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But I was lucky
a
enough
lot
to
of
get
cold meats, I
yeah,
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of
Sauerkrauts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
European sounding
pickled
meats.
things. Yeah.
Like Kaiserfleisch, which
Sounds
is just German.
stinky.
It's German polony. That's what it is. And then I got at IO. So many improvisers were getting jobs at Groupon, which was just this little startup at the time.
A Groupon.
Yeah, and they were getting to just work on and answer emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do emails. So I got a job there. and worked there for ages. And then all the while I was doing IO and Second City and annoyance classes. And that's why it's important to realize that I'm in my still early 20s at this point. This is not something that I could ever really do today.
No. Yeah.
Because it was so intense. I have no idea where the energy came from.
Yes.
Because I would work during the day. I would either go to classes afterwards or I'd go see improv and I would get fucked up pretty much every night because booze was super cheap over there. Yeah. And I was just relentless. It was like because there's 3 big theaters. 2 of those theaters have at least two theaters in them, and they're each doing 2 to 3 shows a night.
So there's always something on.
Always shows going on. It's like it's
and you'd feel
festival.
like this pressure that you got to go, you get swept up in everything.
As well as pressure, though, is sort of like this contagious energy of like, we're doing this amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And we're
I think that's my favorite
favorite
thing about Americans.
Yeah, it's that, isn't it? It's sort of like infectious optimism for we're living in the best city in the world and we're like living our dreams. And so I'm a little tired and dusty, but it's okay. We're going to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, something,
And, the scene was super high school. It was so high school.
Lots of cliques, those like catty group chats.
After being through those cliques of especially IO,
wow,
going and getting into the Harold ensemble and getting into those cliques and all the
all those auditions,
crazy high school cliques and everything, and being on the out, being on the end, and all that.
It's your entire world, isn't it?
Terrifying.
Wow.
It was awful, and even then, to my credit, I hated it.
Did you? And you're like,
great.
I got to step back from this at some point.
I think looking back, burnout or just was inevitable. I'm surprised that I lasted that long. But I did kind of, towards, I would say, year 4, I started to slow down. I started to sort of go, okay, I can't do every improv show in the whole of the greater Chicago area. I can't do it. And what are these shows? Like, is reps that important? What's the quality of the reps that you're getting in?
Yeah. And what's the next thing is probably what you started to think too, was it? Like, where does it go? Like,
what's next? And those are real valid questions, especially in Chicago. I mean, like if you're doing chest press wrong, it's not going to do any good.
Yeah.
So was there like a clear, I don't know, like a progression or something? So it's like, so if you get passed for the best ensemble team, then there's a progression to maybe being in a TV show.
Is it sort of like the Saturday Night Live
towards
kind of
SNL? Yeah.
You know, the Tina Fey journey, like the Amy Poehler journey.
So
sort
first
of to TV.
So there are a few hierarchies that people will lust after. There is, through IO, you obviously want to do the program and get on a Harold team. That's
Can you
people
just go
would
through
rather,
what Harold means?
Sorry,
again?
yes, no,
for those people out there who dropped out of an improv class after 2 days.
I'm so glad you asked,
and I can't remember what that means.
It's just what they call the format of long form improv, which is not the improv games.
It's where the story kind of keeps going and more people join in, and then it keeps going for.
It can be like
layers
it's a
30-minute
or
something
show. Or something.
Originally, it was an hour to an hour and a half. This is in the beatnik
you have to
era.
Be really committed to watch that.
It's the 50s. They had nothing else to do. And then it slowly got, and now it's about now it's 20 minutes, 25, that sort of thing.
So that really is like a play. That is
100%.
Going to see in theatre.
And if you're acting like you are in a play, then it kicks it up into a level that feels like completely magic.
Yes, it must be very addictive.
It's so addictive. When that happens, it gets like that sizzle.
Yeah.
It's red hot, and that's probably, and because I have an addictive personality, I'm absolutely into it,
So
and I'm cool with it.
Best.
It was just, and so you go for Harold Ensemble, and that's the form. You get on the ensemble, you're in the mix of their regular performers on the IO stage.
And how many are there? Like, are we talking like 10 or?
I think there were like 4 of the junior teams, and then there's usually like 2 senior, like middle tier teams, and then there's usually like the Reckoning and Revolver. They all had like people like Cecily Strong and Vanessa Bayer.
Wow. Yeah.
And Cook County Social Club were on, which had Tim Robinson.
Yeah.
And, all this.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just a very, and Tim Robbins, and so that's, and then there was improvised Shakespeare, which Patrick
different.
Stewart used to come in and do improv with them.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah. And then you'd also have, and for me, my goal, I never did it, but my goal was I wanted to be on the Armando, which was the sort of almost tentpole show on Mondays. I think it was Mondays. Don't at me. I don't care that much. And they would get a guest in to tell stories and then do stand-up off those, do improv off those stories. And they would have like really good guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I remember I watched this one, it was Pendleton Wood, the guy that made Adventureland.
Oh, yeah.
Adventure,
right.
no, Adventure Time.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. And just to make it
cool.
the most amazing stories, and then just to have the best improvisers to do it. And yeah. And amongst that, you also had like TJ and Dave, which is this mythologized, deified improv duo
Right.
that, to their credit, they do an hour 2-person improv,
God.
sometimes one scene, and it is completely riveting.
Yeah.
And they don't give a fuck. They could be playing to no one or a whole crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In it.
It's like you're a little
Wow.
in the peep show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels real, like a world of like, it feels really infectious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
feels like, once you're in there, it would
Yeah.
have been hard to get out in a
Yeah.
way. Like I can understand
Was it a hard
why.
decision to leave?
Because
as
I
well?
was still, even then, I was kind of still a weirdo, even still strange to them. So I got in with like Annoyance, which is Mick Napier's.
Because you're Australian or because you had a lot of stuff going on in your own life? What do you mean?
I just like weird shit. I just have a more sort of absurdist
a bit more alternative
flavor.
your style of
Okay.
comedy.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
in comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And I got in with that theatre. I really liked the way that they taught improv. It was super interesting and different and a little bit more practical, less sort of theory and pretentiousness. Because IO, still great, but the basis is this, strung out 1950s beatnik who was not a very good person.
Yeah.
Del Close. He created it. And so it's still got these leftovers of this weird
Let's not
beatnik
talk about him.
skibbity beat.
Yeah, yeah.
And Annoyance does a really good job of removing all that, I feel.
Reinventing.
Even though, some people hate Mick Napier, and that's fine. It's just so wonderfully American and dramatic and but still fun. I don't think I think when I left, COVID fucked them all up. COVID closed.
I was going to say, that was my next thing. Like, are people, audiences going along and supporting these things as well, like watching them? So
it's part of the culture.
Yeah, so it also really, I guess, gives you the feeling of like, I'm doing something that's good, that people are enjoying and people, because
And-
that's often the hard thing with theatre is like, no one will come to your show here. Or it's like such a small
That's
industry.
that's not
It's
just
so
theatre.
different.
It's just,
It's
I
just
think
like-
it's
You know what I mean,
Australia's-
though? And so it's very hard to feel like you're doing something that is worthwhile,
Wow.
that's making people's lives better and
Yeah.
stuff. And it just
Yeah.
feels like
Oh man, like when you look at the fact that we're in
trying to get someone to come along.
a major federal election and no one, not once did I ever hear anyone mention the
about
fact
the
that
arts.
the entertainment industry in Australia has all but pretty much fucking collapsed.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a coma sometimes.
So that's what that says to me is not that it's just that no one gives a fuck.
Well, it's not that no one gives a fuck, but
The majority, the great majority
it's
that has been
nearly
polled,
no one. It's nearly no one gives a fuck.
Think tanks that have had billions of dollars injected into them have gone over the numbers, and they have deemed the arts not worthy of mentioning. If we don't mention this, are we going to piss off voters? No. There's not enough people to make any effective change. Now, there is.
That's brutal.
It's a hard truth.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because it will set you free.
Yeah.
Once you have realized that there is nothing, you are now free to build something. And because of the internet, now we have all these tools.
Options, yeah.
That you can,
exactly.
You can't do this?
Beholden to.
Who gives a fuck? Do it anyway.
Yeah. Your phone is as good a camera as.
Put on
Look at us.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, make a podcast.
Yeah.
Shoot something. Put up do a regular night.
Yeah.
Make right now, me and my wife are both incredibly underemployed. And so we have been trying to get together. We've got 2 ideas. We're going to try and get together a game show that we can regularly do on the weekly live and make money and try and make that into and then pitch that.
Show. Yeah.
And then we have a bigger idea for a show that we're just at the moment kind of researching and fucking around with. So it's like that's what you can it's when COVID hit and the comedy festival was cancelled. I was like, I can freeze.
So had you just come back?
So
you were back here then. I mean, I guess we've skipped
we have gone. We've
a decade.
We have skipped a whole decade.
We've skipped a decade.
We have skipped an entire decade.
Maybe that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of build up. There's a lot of me being drunk.
Yeah.
I've only been like a little over 2 years sober.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What a big change.
It's a massive change.
Yeah. So how is it being a comedian and being sober?
It's better.
Because you did a show related to that too, didn't you? Because it's pretty hard not to, such a big thing, such a hard not for it not to be part of.
Well, especially when
how do you
especially when a
do you
lot
smoke? Did you used to smoke cigarettes?
No.
How did you go through being an actor and not smoking?
Yeah. I was one of the only ones.
Yeah.
I know.
What do you do? Everyone's gone out and they're hanging out.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
It's same. It's difficult. And I definitely didn't have the willpower to do it.
Yeah, especially when a lot of
it's always at a bar.
It's always at a bar, comedy and improv.
and they'll pay you often in like drink tickets, or they'll pay you like a bit of money, but then they're like, oh, but it's a bar tab, so you feel like
it's
I better make use of it.
So
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow. So you were like,
so were there really hard times before
moving back as well?
How did you get through that?
I think I just kind of, I mean, it can work. Alcohol is a pretty good coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Well, it dulls the pain in a lot of ways.
It really
doesn't
does it.
But it doesn't heal it. So I guess
no, and it like is a degenerative illness, especially with mental state. Just it slowly erodes, and I was pretty resilient. Bit of a brag. I kept it going for a long time. Wow. I was pretty good, well functioning.
You were like I'm assuming you maybe didn't go to therapy.
Yeah. That would be a good
so like
assumption.
were you just like kind of burying all these feelings of like, oh, I didn't get into acting school, or like that you wanted to pursue that other thing, or or were you kind of like had a group of friends and you were talking about those
I think
things, or it was just like repress
rock bottom.
It's interesting because I think I got back, and so I've been all through my 30s were here basically.
Yeah.
After that experience in Chicago with the improv.
Yeah.
Your 30s back
30s were here.
Yeah.
You know, sort of coming back to no improv scene.
Yeah.
Really. There was a little bit, but it was very just very
different.
It's very different.
Impossible to compare.
Yes.
It's not fair.
Yeah, we just don't have anything like that here. And certainly none of the energy
none of the
like, we're
support.
doing a great thing, we're working towards something. Like everyone's just like,
And also that long form style of improv relies so heavily on you believing that your opinion matters and is a good opinion or is interesting in any way.
So against Australians, like
it's really hard to have a valid, like to really feel good about your opinion here, isn't it? Where it's sort of just like cut everyone down and you know the backhanded compliment.
And to do a funny kind of character-driven scene, you kind of need to come out and your initiation be a big opinion.
Commit to it, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and trust that the rest of the people on your like
team will either get on board or fight you with everything.
Join you, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty tough.
So so
crazy. Yeah, so to come back and then did you just go back into
just went right back into stand up,
right? Yeah. Did you do stand up at all in Chicago, or
I did a little bit. It was
not much.
It was pretty brutal. But I met some pretty good acts there. It was fun, but it was pretty small. And then they opened up a Laugh Factory, and that's done a lot. There's zanies there, but I wasn't at the level that I could do those rooms really. To be being honest with myself, I don't think I was.
And so, did you make inroads through stand-up comedy here because you know there's TV improv shows in this country and stuff that are quite successful, like, you know, thank God you're here.
Yeah.
Like that. So that sort of the inroad started into that world here.
Yeah. So I came back and was able to use my the fact that I'd done stuff in Perth and was kind of known there and by good people. And so I was able to sort of slot in easier than just starting. It wasn't starting from scratch.
Yeah. So when was what year was that?
So this all would have been 2014. And so I did that and then got in with a friend of mine, an old friend of mine. And I don't want to mention his name because all of this did not end well. This is kind of like, this was a nightmare situation with him anyway. Because
best not to.
You'd know if you know me, you know this person. And that happened, and I did a show with him. That got turned into a TV show. Picked up for a TV show. He was. We started filming the show. He was abruptly taken off the project, and the show had to continue. And I, you know, this was my first job.
Yeah.
Professional
your glimpse
job.
Into
back from Chicago.
Wow.
And it really just, I think it definitely
pretty traumatic
hurt my career, especially because I was trying to cope with an abusive boss who was just screaming at me nonstop because I became the head writer and showrunner of the entire show.
Wow.
And I was getting screamed at a guy that didn't know how to check his emails or schedule anything on Google Calendars. God. And also had to deal with the fact that my friend had been
taken off
for. Think about the reasons why you would get taken off for that. And you're probably correct.
Pretty close. Yeah.
So I'm dealing with that as well.
Yeah.
And then also one of my best friends, like Ride or Dies, Cassie Workman, came out to me as trans. She was on that as well. So I was like dealing with these major, huge things with my friend.
Yeah.
Like these are huge things.
Tumultuous time.
Yeah.
Was it a success?
No. It was. We were dealing with like. I look back on it, and I was talking to Cassie about this. I was like, it's so wild to think back and the fact that we all said yes to that.
But you didn't know what was going to happen.
Even
I mean, you
then,
couldn't have, or
in
maybe you
hindsight,
had
I would have walked away.
A little inkling.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And now, knowing what I do now.
But some things are just train wrecks and you kind of like can't, but you get a great relation. You know, you might have got a great relationship out of that in terms of your friend or colleague.
And we did. And everyone that worked on that show kind of has, deals with it in their own way. They do have that same
shared trauma.
That look. We give each other that look.
Yeah.
That you know if you've been through some shit.
Yeah.
You're like,
I think we all have a few jobs like that. Raymond has a few farm animals like that. Shared trauma.
Shared trauma.
And so I think that set me back with acting and TV, especially with ABC, because they brought in a counsellor and they were like, everything is here.
You were sort of tarnished by that.
They brought in a counsellor and they said, can you talk to this counsellor? And so I talked to the counsellor and I said, I've been smoking a lot of weed trying to cope with this because I'm trying not to drink all the time.
Yeah.
And they took that information and they said, Ben Russell is doing drugs. He's a druggie.
Yeah. Not that you're stressed out of your mind.
This was an ABC provided counsellor and they pretty much just said Ben Russell is a weed head druggie.
That's a bit of a betrayal, isn't it? It's quite a betrayal when you're trying to. So you're going through this big transition. You're trying to stay sober.
And I only know this because when I told the counsellor that is literally all she would ever talk to me about and was ever interested in. And I would get follow-ups just about that. And
how much drugs are you
How did
doing?
you hang in there? Sounds like that is a cacophony of shit.
It is.
How did you not just go,
Purely,
I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this anymore.
I think it was purely
I'm
through
gonna be
community.
a labourer.
It was because it was just my friends and everyone kind of got me through it.
Such good friends.
And also at the time, I had no concept of ever doing anything else. I mean, this was never about the money and it's certainly not about fame.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of anything worse than fame. And there's literally no, especially in Australia, there is no other reason to do this other than you have no choice.
You have to.
That you want.
That's the aim of this podcast.
Yeah.
Is this a job?
Yeah.
Unlikely.
Yeah.
But
I think you just have to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You have to just go and
so were you able to find solace in something else then? Like how did you
I think my relationship with my partner really got me through.
Who's also creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually, yeah. It's interesting that you say that because that made me look back and I go, what was the next project after that? And it was the Tokyo Hotel, which me and my wife wrote and she directed.
Which was a podcast serial.
It got turned into a podcast with ABC and then it was just a radio play that we made.
Different counsellor that time.
Different counsellor, yeah. So maybe it didn't fuck with
interesting. So you sort of were able to sidestep and recover and still keep doing the creative.
And pivot, like to go into a podcast serial story.
The pivot.
Like pivoting. She's always pivoting.
But before the podcast, it was a stage show.
Yeah.
And it was a character one-man show.
Yeah.
So it was
and
something
involved
familiar.
into separate into different things.
And so that was super fun and I think it was a really good way to get me back engaged.
Yeah, and to find a new way of working, right? Because it's very different when you're working sober, I imagine. Such a different life, right?
This is
drinking.
pre-sober.
This is pre-sober.
Oh, okay.
I was a high functioning alcoholic, especially in the early days. I get less and less functioning as the end of my
I think that's the general journey.
Yeah,
for
and it has to get the
substance
most
abuse, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
There can be a real high functioning,
but
it cannot last forever.
No, and ultimately it ended in like health problems, both mental and like my liver.
Yeah,
I got fatty liver syndrome. It's finished now. Wow. I think it's gotten a lot. It's pretty
recovered.
So one of the beautiful things with the liver is,
gosh, isn't that amazing? So
you can get so close to cirrhosis of the liver.
Wow.
And not get,
and then it
can start to repair itself. It's the only organ that does.
It's very lucky that you got to that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, good on you.
And that was only because of my wife in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out
she
to
was
Maggie.
like, you're going to the doctor.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. So that's
wow. But so you did this podcast and you were doing stand up as well.
I was doing stand up and I like stand up because of the control, because of it was just you.
Yeah.
There was no one else to.
And you'd been
To
burnt a
kill
bit.
you.
Yeah, so it kind of does give you that control, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially, I mean, being burnt by your the creative partner beforehand that, like,
Yeah.
you know, had
Yeah.
to
And in
bosses you didn't like.
exactly.
And, writers
And now
who
you're like, well,
leave.
this is just me.
And
This
the
is-
disappointment kind of, the disappointment wouldn't end there, of course. There's so many
never
other
does.
shows. That wasn't the worst. It wasn't I think it was probably the most unprofessional thing that's ever happened to me. What happened during that
show you were
that show.
speaking about.
wow.
just a truly like gross. I think back and I'm just like like adults behaved
Like that.
in crazy times. And it's disappointing, but it's also really handy because it's exactly what I don't want to do. And as I get now I'm 40 and I'm sober. If I can skip through just briefly,
Yeah.
I kind of want to I want to try and leave this shithole a little bit tidier than what it once was. And so I don't want to be a cunt to people.
Yeah.
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 I don't think you should. I think if you're yelling, you've already lost and you should already have walked away in a professional environment.
That's so
If you're
true.
yelling at someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is never a need
If you're yelling, you go,
to talk to someone
hard
like
to
that.
be respectful and be yelling
Yeah.
at someone,
Yeah.
isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
and I get heated in debates, like especially stupid little creative debates.
Yeah.
But it's just about, should we put a fart in there, or is a dick funnier than a
What
asshole?
could be funnier?
I don't. And the answer is
Really?
The answer is
depends on
nothing. I'm
context.
racking my
I mean,
brain.
terrible example.
Context, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? How I think I think back over jobs, and I've certainly had people yelling on set and stuff, and people in power, and it does happen, and it's funny. But
You think
I
about it,
guess
you go,
that
why
can-
is that?
Yeah.
how is that ever okay? But they're like, they're a genius, and they're under a lot of pressure, and they've written this thing, and like,
Yeah, I don't think
but
if
it's
you're
like,
working in. I'm sorry, but if you're working still in Australian television, you're not a genius. You should.
if you're on these shores,
Yeah.
Get a grip.
that is
The whole notion
brutal,
of
Ben. That is
genius.
so
Yeah.
brutal.
I'm
well,
against
the
the-
notion of genius
Yes,
anyway.
that's
It's
what
not
I-
bullshit.
Yeah.
So like people
Notion
should,
of a genius is
yeah,
a
I mean
complete
people
bullshit.
should be
Yeah.
judged on their behavior and not like
And
just
also-
some sort of
cheapens the work that they've done.
Yeah.
please.
It's like
I
no,
mean, come on.
they did it because they put everything into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sat on that computer screen every morning for
Yeah.
a year or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's all just hard
Yeah.
work. It's not
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I'm a genius and this is easy. It's
Yeah.
like, you're fooling
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good to draw attention to, I think, like that behavior, which can sometimes just be, I don't know, people can just think that's part of being creative or part of.
Oh, yeah, that you've got to be a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, and
just,
that's you've
like,
sort of just got to take it from people.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the tide is turning slowly, but
Yeah.
but it is to call that out and just be a bit like, no,
It happens.
you don't need to
Yeah.
speak to someone
Yeah.
like that.
It happens less to people on camera and more frequently to people off camera.
Yes, of
Only reason I know that is because my wife is behind the camera
Yeah.
typically and has been producers on like big shows, and just behaviors towards her have been.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny now because they have figured out that they might have been yelling at my wife. So I'm like,
Okay.
I know who you are. Who you
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
and I'll kill you.
Yeah.
I believe you, actually. Yeah. Just weed a
Wow.
little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm getting worked up. This is fun.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I'm getting
So interesting.
But yeah, like I just remember, like, obviously I met you through stand up, and like your stand up is so good. And I mean, you said before that you're more absurdist leading, and you are, but it is just still so like it's so different to stand up because you're just doing things that are heightened, like your impressions and all these other things that I think a lot of Australians aren't like. I don't know. There's not many impressionists out there.
No.
Like I was going to say they're not brave enough to do.
But that's because
like,
impressionists
I think it's,
are ill-regarded.
But on stage you are so it's I mean, such a pleasure to see. And I saw your stand-up show last year, which like got like so many great reviews and like the Director's Choice Award for the Melbourne Comedy Festival. But that was your first solo show.
That was my first stand-up show.
Yeah.
Because I figured I'd always figured that I could do stand-up any time of the year.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to do something like the year before I did the Ultimate Hollywood Tours with Mags, because we always just do shows together.
Yeah. And before that you were doing like with Xavier and that was like so funny.
So it's all just been these weird little challenge more shows that I've been like, this is weird. I'm going to try and see if this is any good.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes
sort of
it's
like
not.
changing the genre of it. But this was the first stand-up where you wrote.
Yeah.
And were you yourself? So there's lots of impressions in there, but it was you being Ben, because you're the actor as well, right? So it's sort of different.
Well,
how do you do that?
This show was the first time I ever did it the textbook way of how you're supposed to do a show. I started
there was structure.
I started the year before. I did all the fringes except for Melbourne Fringe because I didn't want to eat my audience or let people know what it was like.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So a version of the show you were not testing out. So you were touring.
I was touring shit work in progress shows all around the
You were exploring the idea of this show in the build up.
So I think the first thing I did was the Sydney Fringe or Sydney Comedy Festival. I just did a little room and it was way too long. It was a bigger sort of story and I overcomplicated, hard to follow, too sad. About different things that people and then too many ideas, and then it slowly every festival it would get pared back and pared back and pared back, and then in Perth, for the Perth Fringe World, we had gotten to a stage of where we thought what the story was, and we had put in a lot of jokes.
This is you and your director.
Yeah. Slash wife.
Slash wife. Oh.
Very
so convenient. Yeah.
Great. It's a 50-50 split. It's fine. It doesn't matter because my money is hers and hers is mine. So
happy really to pay a percentage.
And we don't and we don't really screen. This one was harder because we were dealing with trauma.
In the show,
which was my rock bottom with alcoholism.
Yes, wow.
And then coming up with
hence too sad.
Yeah.
So it was too sad,
but almost. But then
it wasn't
the perfect person to be directing it to.
Exactly. Yeah, because it was as much her story.
Yes.
As it was mine, really.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense to involve her anyway.
Yeah. So I think like as an audience member, it made it more powerful because you're like, oh, she's so involved in all aspects of this.
And it was in Perth that Mags was able to do the structure of the show. She was like, had this great eureka moment and was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And then we tried it the next day, and then because the way that it's an exhausting. I don't want to do it again. I don't really want to do a show like that. It has to be every blue moon. Like
it just costs a lot. You mean
it's
emotionally,
so much work.
Or just?
It's not even the content. It's just that it's work. Like you go to the fringe festivals and you spend all your day during the day writing and then trying to memorize this and then doing it.
Yeah.
And then it's rinse and repeat. So it's like, the show changed.
Not to mention, I mean, maybe like the constant kind of niggling, like, oh, I wonder what tickets are looking like, and then you're thinking about that, and you're checking like
normal worries about.
I don't care about that.
Oh well, that's
anymore.
nice.
I guess because if you're so involved in the side of it, then maybe you find just total freedom with that other stuff because you don't have time to.
Yeah, this is an investment period, so this is going to cost me.
Yeah.
And then if you make a good show, you can
the next
then
year.
you can worry.
Once you've developed the show, then you
That's the
worry
idea.
about that. When
Now
you're
that
not writing every day.
Now that I have this show, I never stop having this show. It's not really a dateable show in terms of references. So it's something that I can. And I want to tour in the US next year. Things like that. Just dreams. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Because you got that product.
Maybe you can make a special or something.
That's kind of what I want to
a
do.
TV special.
Yeah.
Because that's the only product
Those
that we
shows
have.
go really well on like a TV special or something.
Yeah.
I love things like that.
It makes no sense to do one show and then forget it. Like that's your product in business. You try and flog the prod.
Yeah. Plug the prod. That's what they say.
Ben Russell.
All doing. That is what we're all trying to do, I guess, ultimately.
But I mean, but
it was worth it. Isn't it nice to know that I can confirm that if you put in all that work, you will get a good show.
You will get a good show.
You really will. And you
what
can't
a catharsis too. And then to come sort of full circle and to have to really, can't imagine, like really just being yourself on stage and then talking, like going through all that stuff.
This is my secret trick, okay? I'm playing Ben Russell.
Yeah.
So I'm playing a character that's Ben Russell, but Ben Russell that knows that he's funny.
The confident Ben.
He's confident. He's got. I just say. Usually just say. American confidence. That's usually what I'll just be like.
Just when you're off stage.
Ben Russell, American confidence.
And then you walk on. Hi everyone. Hi.
Yeah, like I'm.
That's good.
I'm awesome. I'm funny. I got someone to get.
We all need that in our little earpiece.
Yeah.
Like, just say American confidence.
American confidence, Adrian Pickering.
You can do it.
Before I go on.
American confidence. Play yourself, knowing. It's a you that knows that they're hilarious, and you're not worried if a joke fails because you got another hilarious coming up.
Yeah.
And that is fun as an actor to do.
That is fun.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
Like this idea of having this one show is quite separate to the constant hamster wheel that is Melbourne. Really, of that, and Australia in general, because there are so many like festivals around, but so most people will have a show every year. And so you had this big success like last year, like would have felt so good. But then there's that pressure of like, oh, so what are you going to do? What's the next one? What are you going to do next year? Which like that's what everyone, even if they have like this amazing show nominated for whatever and they get it, and then straight away they're thinking about, oh, I've got to do the next show now because this is dead.
Well, it's also just financially though, you need to keep having a prod to flog.
That's true. So,
and I should have done a 1 or 2 encore shows this festival. Of my own show.
Yeah.
Instead, I got away with it financially because there's so much going on that I just picked up spots and things like that. Which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And it was such a nice way to experience. I did a little judging for the Gibbo. And it was so much fun to see shows.
Yeah.
And I was like,
without
this
the
is
pressure
fun.
of
It's fun to watch the shows.
This is actually fun.
Yeah.
Quite a different thing watching to like being.
And that kind of got me in the thing that me and Mags are going at the moment, because we're, as I said, we're both kind of broken. We don't have much to do. So we've been like trying to go and see weird shit. Like we've been going
to get ideas for concepts.
Yeah, we've been going to the Court of Petty Sessions and just watching people.
Whoa.
Go up and be like, it wasn't my fault. I was driving and over the limit, Your Honour. And going up to the magistrate, like it's super
Anyone
fun.
can just go watch?
Anyone can go watch. You can go to the Supreme Court, you can go to the Costings Court.
You?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can.
It's because it's built around the foundation. This is for the people.
Yeah.
Yes, this is transparent. There's only a few times where they clear.
Closed court.
Yeah.
And that's usually because there's such a big, prominent cases.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I've been to the Supreme Court and
have you?
Yeah.
I've never been to the Supreme Court.
It's an amazing building.
Wow.
Yeah. And
it's really interesting, isn't it? It's like a stage.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring because the show goes all day. So there's a lot of pauses and like, sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah.
And then
But you can-
amend this and amend that.
You can
a lot of paperwork, but
you can see why the Sydney law review has done so much damage to the Australian comedy landscape. I'm looking at you, Sean McCall. No, they're all so many.
They're all just performers, aren't they?
There's so many
barristers.
lawyers that are just like, because it really is a show.
It is a stage. Yeah, that there
Yeah.
are.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's been super fun and then we've just been trying to do, because otherwise we're both extremely good at staying in.
Yeah.
We're so good. Mags loves Housewives, anything Bravo.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love
gee.
fucking computer games, you know?
Yeah.
You need something to get your soft pants off,
Yeah.
get some hard pants on and get out there.
Well, that's it. The problem is that if you do it, that's fun. But if you've got a gig that night, you're like, I'm going to write something new. You're like, I've had zero input.
Yeah.
I've got no stories.
Yeah, the internet doesn't help. By the way, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's useless. It'll learn. Nobody cares about your bits that you've seen on the internet. You know, it's like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You need to go out and like experience the world
Yeah.
in order to get any ideas.
Yeah.
And we had no ideas, so we're just like, let's just get off
go
our
do
fucking asses.
Wow.
Go to court.
Go to court.
Yeah.
And we've not just gone to court. We've gone to like
Supermarkets are good, aren't they? Or like train stations.
we've been going to like
I love people watching too.
board game places and just
Board game
reading
places.
up on the board games
Wow.
as well. Like
Oh, yeah. You mean where they play board games together?
Yeah.
Or
And
at
board
the
game stores.
competitively?
Board game stores.
Oh, right.
and those places. So
It's a certain type of person that loves playing board games, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am.
Is
like,
it you?
I do love a board
You
game.
do? Yeah.
Yeah, actually. But Maggie is anti-game.
Oh.
She hates computer games. She hates all games.
Any
I'm
game.
a bit like that. I hate
guys would get along.
all games.
She hates them. She's like, no.
Any kind of game.
Even my
if you
kids
trick
are
her into
super
it.
cute, and they're like, "Will you
No.
play noughts and crosses?" And I'm a bit like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I hate this. I really hate this." There you go. I win. Okay, bye. Okay, you win. Doesn't matter, does it? Like, I'm just really ambivalent towards it. I don't know why. I have no
funny.
patience for it.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's
I don't really have a strong opinion either way. I feel like, oh yeah, if someone wants to play,
I just love
Sure. I would
Things
never
off the
seek it
right.
out. I'd never go to a game store.
far as
So
off
some
the
of them
right
take
dopamine.
hours and hours.
Oh,
so you
yeah.
kind of
those
can't-
strategy ones.
That's how you know they're good.
You can also never do those
when you have to consult
and have
the
small
rule
children.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you just can't. Like
No.
we went to a family friend's house and we walked in with our 3 small children, and on their huge table was a jigsaw puzzle up one end and then this like crazy complex game that they'd been playing for days with each other. And it had like cards. It was one of those strategy games, and it was really complicated. And like the 2 of my daughters just like got up on the table like, "Oh my God, look at all these pieces." Like, no, don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's ruining everything.
So it was quite a stressful visit because we like had to try and keep them away from
But also, like,
like
you have to wear it.
yeah.
You can't get upset
you
at
can't
children
invite children
Yeah.
over
for
You just wanna
ruining
play
your
game.
make-believe.
Yeah.
A little bit. It was like, yeah, they are sheep and those are tiny buildings, and I can see why
Yeah.
you'd want to play,
We'll play
with
with
them.
There's no difference between what you do and what we're
There isn't. And they just thought that like this is the best
That
game
everyone's
ever. And
playing.
like, look at these tiny sheep and horses and like, what's this cannon over here? And like all this stuff. Yeah, it is a make believe
Yeah.
world.
And then they are toys.
And they are toys.
Do you have a hobby?
Yeah.
Do you think it's good to have hobbies like
I found that out.
Yeah.
I did that in COVID. Didn't have a hobby because I had monetized everything that
Yeah.
I loved. As is
Income
capitalism.
income streams.
Yeah.
As is capitalism's desire
dream?
for us.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I gotta get a hobby because it can't just be movies
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
full
and
investment.
games. And even then, I'd sort of at the time of COVID monetized streaming, which
Streaming playing games.
was a terrible decision.
Then that
don't do it.
takes the joy out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, it does.
Does it?
It
Having
does.
people watch you do it.
Yeah, it completely sucks the whole fun out of video games. It's crazy.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. It's no good.
Changes the way you play.
That's a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah, wow.
But that was
what is your
COVID
hobby?
thing. I make music. So I've got little synthesizers and noisemakers and a Adobe and plug and not Adobe.
Yeah, you're
Ableton
a producer.
Not terrible.
Is that what they call them though?
What do you mean?
I'm
a musician?
I'm an electronic.
But electronic
Artist.
I'm an electronic artist.
Aren't they called
I'm
producers?
an electronic artist, and I make
that's
experiences.
awesome.
Yeah.
No, I just love making little beat boobs.
Beats.
Yeah.
Making beats.
Maggie calls it my beat boobs. And,
Yeah.
You just have your earphones on, just make it beating away.
Yeah.
just vibing out, just
Whoops.
beating off. Just beating off like no one's watching.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
More Ben's little beat boobs.
Beat
Going
boobs.
away.
Or dials. It's such ADHD baby things with like twists.
Yeah,
and
heaps of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Tactile.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just
But so
impulsively
good to get
kind of
out of it. Like, I mean, that's so different to, I mean, still a creative thing, but so different to acting and having to think about what's funny about something for the stage.
You don't
You're
have to
just
think
like,
about making anything good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be good at all. In fact, it's pretty much
If only
impossible.
things didn't need to be good. I think if we just take off all the pressure to be good,
Yeah.
it makes it so much more fun. doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you take that's why I like doing improv here because I made my own. I did a little show because I wanted to do improv more, and I do it at Comedy Republic, and I just do it because it's fun and it's the most.
Do you need to have a team to do that with, or just?
Can
Can you just do it by yourself?
You do need it. It is a collaborative.
Yeah, I thought so. Right.
And I did. I put together. I just invited
you found
some people.
who would do it with you.
Just that I liked doing it with, and then
Yeah. People from court.
people from court that I'd seen, people from lockup.
Yeah.
Friends from. The Aryan Brotherhood. Sorry.
Good friends. Really
Yeah,
good
yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah, really good friends.
Because you managed to sorry, this is cutting you off, but like you found a way to actually be paid in one of the few ways in Australia to be an improviser of being in the ensemble of Thank God You're Here.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge deal to be on TV, but also doing this thing that you've trained for so long, like improv, like it's...
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was pretty I was shocked that I got it because I won't lie, it did have there was a little bit of a hey, hello. Excuse me. Try not to seem desperate. But
Please hire me. This is the best thing ever. I'm so quirky and funny. Look at my hat.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, well, they just approached me and I said yes. I wanted it real bad.
Yeah.
And I did, yeah. So that was fun.
Is it like a nice, I don't know, like a nice thing in the Australian landscape of being an actor and an improviser,
it was
and
fun.
it's one of the few things, I guess, that can be like, oh, I can get paid for doing this thing that I actually really love.
Yeah. Yes. Anytime I get a job like that pays me
Feels real good.
Not and by the way, when I say it's not TV money. This is not the 80s or the 90s, by the way.
Yeah.
People think that if you've got an ABC show,
That's
you're a
true.
millionaire.
People probably do think that, don't they? They think like, whoa, he bought 7 houses from that.
I think I got
Might
around
be half a year's wage for a normal person.
Yeah.
Or a year's wage for a normal person.
I don't remember exactly what I got. It could be more. It could be less. I feel like it was around.
We don't need to go into
could
the
be-
details here.
It was only. No, I want to tell people.
You tell people.
I got around $2,000 a week, I think,
Okay.
roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that
and
like-
I'm not saying
that's
that's not a brag.
per-
It's just literally tell people that's what TV
Yeah,
money
that
is.
is
Yeah.
TV money. So that's
And it's good. No one's saying it's not good, but it's not. And I used it to go on holiday.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Well, at
and
least
it's
for the
not
second
like
season.
it's very much.
Oh, it's the first holiday in ages. It was so nice.
It's so hard to justify a holiday, isn't it?
And
Could I afford
also
scraping together?
Because it's
Could
not
you do anything else after? No.
forever.
But it
I was
felt
going to
really
say it's very
nice.
much a contract or like a temporary. You're like
it was worth it. 100%.
It's only 8 weeks.
Hey, Ben, I was just going to ask, do you have any advice for the younger version of you when you were sort of like embarking out, or anything you would have appreciated that you know now that you wish you had known earlier?
Look after your liver.
It's boring, but it would be you.
Yeah.
You're not missing out on anything if you just go home. Honestly, you might like
I can't for hangs.
I can't say honestly that some of my party and fun didn't lead to getting to know people, but I can also say that I've done similar stuff sober, and I've gotten to know people and gotten opportunities from that as well. So it's like, it's doable without. And I would just, you don't need to be the fun guy to everyone all the time. You cannot. Stop drinking, basically. It's an easy one.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasted a lot of time with that.
On it.
If you put together all the time that I was sick and in bed or throwing up or not really able to do anything or just fucked up or hungover as balls. I mean, that's a pretty depressing amount of time for me.
Big part of your life.
And that's fine. And I did that. And that made me who you are today. You can get sad about it, or you can just kind of accept it and try and not be as much of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
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 That's a great motto, though.
Yeah.
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 My uncle died yesterday, and he was a guy he was a redneck, nice uncle, terrible kind of father, and very
Oh, no.
So sorry.
held a grudge.
Oh.
Yeah, and he kind of just stopped trying towards the end of his life, to being a good person or
Right.
to being.
Got a bit stuck, you mean?
A bit of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like dudes just.
Grumpy, real man, insular, a bit lonely.
Well, I feel like all of America has just kind of given up on trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can fuck
still
up.
do it.
Yeah,
And
you can also do the right thing in a small way, and it's
Yeah.
not worth nothing,
No.
you know.
You know.
that's
And
true.
and there's a lot of people, and rightly so, that might say, "Oh, Ben Russell's on the pod. Fuck that. That guy's a cunt," or whatever. My point is,
Whatever.
people will hate you.
Just tune out this week and tune back next week.
Yeah, tune it back in.
We won't
People
judge
will
you.
hate you no matter what. And and they're probably totally within their right. But
Yeah, it's the people that feel like, oh, I better comment and make sure that Ben Russell knows that I fucking hate
my
something
point is not
about
to
it.
attack them. It's more
sort
that
of like the outrage or something, isn't it?
I think what I was trying to say is more like you, just because you've messed up or you've embarrassed yourself or become drunken or said something that's hurtful or just been a cunt doesn't mean you have to become the Joker.
Yeah.
True.
And be a supervillain.
You certainly don't.
Yeah. You can still
Change.
try to not be a cunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the world's better for it.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Great.
Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
No worries.
Thank you. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah. So great.
That was fun.
And I
You got
think
me worked. You got me worked up.
and you-
It was
I love it. I
Yeah.
love getting worked
With
up.
some
Got me
passion.
worked up too. Like,
Yes. Some banging.
Love
Anything you want to plug? Anything?
Something Good's the improv
Something
show.
Good's coming.
Yeah.
Comedy Republic.
Yeah.
Wednesdays.
Yeah. And follow you so that they can watch this potential game show /
show
potential
in the
new
future.
ideas.
It's in the
Who
works.
knows what it will be? Well, I have no plan.
With you
It'll
and Maggie.
be what it'll
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Who is an
We
amazing,
look
I mean,
forward
we
to it.
didn't give her like the credit.
Yeah.
She'll have to come on.
She
She
directed-
is
Should
an
get Maggie on.
incredible
You should get
director.
Maggie on. She is
she directed Bronwyn Cuss's show this year, as well as like a bunch of others.
She's gone through
Maggie's so great.
She's seen the other side, like of the industry, the production side.
Oh yeah, we should get her on too.
And she's got
Hopefully she can give
stories.
up some of her time.
She's got more stories
stories
than me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not possible.
She's got more stories.
Well, what a little sizzle for when we get
Next week on
Tune
This Is a Job. Well, can't guarantee. Can't guarantee it'll be next week. But
hopefully she's free.
we'll see if we can get her.
Might be in court.
I think she. I'll let her know. I'll talk to her. I'll talk to her and my people
talk to your people.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much.
No worries, thank you.
Russell, thank
Pleasure.
you.
Bye. Thank you for listening. If you liked us, please tell a friend or two. Apparently that's how these things work. We want to acknowledge the incredible stories, culture, resilience and creativity of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities, in particular the beautiful lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nations, where this podcast is recorded. Thank you also to Chris Pickering for the music and Vincent Pickering for the logo and animations. And yes, they are our brothers. We're everywhere.